Are the crypto markets cooked? Let's talk about it. If you're new here, make sure you like the video and subscribe. We are documenting the crypto journey in 2025. I know it has been almost a week or maybe felt like a while since I posted. The last post I made was around last week regarding Caspa and what I was seeing on the charts. And now since then, we've had the largest liquidation in crypto history. If you want to get my genuine real-time reactions to that, you can go and listen to the podcast episode that me and Alex did. I can tell you the vibes were pretty low on that podcast because it's never nice. It's never fun to watch your portfolio go down 20, 30% in the span of like 48 hours. That definitely hurts. But what I will say is I don't think that, and we'll get into it, I don't think that this is the top, but I think a lot of the things we've been talking about have been proven to be true, which is we're not in a normal cycle where all these altcoins are going to continue to rise higher just because Bitcoin moves higher. We're not in a cycle that we've ever seen before. And so my center of gravity when it comes to that is looking at the data, understanding the macro, and then looking at charts. Now, if you've been following this channel over several years, then you know that we've always gone back to the data, gone back to the charts, even if projects that we've selected or, things that we thought were going to play out didn't occur. The macro thesis has always been that digital scarcity assets in the crypto asset class are going to grow at an exponential speed. And all of that is coming true. Everything has played out, exactly how we thought it was going to play out. It's just Bitcoin has been the only thing that has really been worth investing in outside of maybe Solana. And then, of course, there's pockets of outperformance. But what I want to really hone in on today is that there's a lot of people out there who believe that the market's topped. In my opinion, I believe that locally, the market could be topped, but I think we've already seen massive drawdown. Now, if you look at Bitcoin dominance is at 61%. Some people, the people who are still claiming for alt season soon, are telling you now that Bitcoin dominance this was the final bang, this was the top, and now we're going to start to see this come down lower. We don't really know what's going to happen, guys. Bitcoin is an institutional, it's an institutionally driven asset now. It is not retail driven like it has been in the past, and so it's very difficult for me to say that Bitcoin's going to continue, or there's going to be a part in which Bitcoin's not outperforming the rest of the crypto market because, let's be honest, most of the rest of the crypto market doesn't really have any merit at all. Solana as a technology has been a breakout technology within crypto. The value there is obvious, and even Ethereum has underperformed incredibly. I have huge bags in Ethereum that have really underperformed, but really there hasn't been an asset that has been worth holding outside of Bitcoin for the long term. So what I do want to talk about is I don't think that, Bitcoin is topped. I think Bitcoin's probably going to start acting a lot different as an asset now that it is institutionally driven than it has in the past. And I think we saw that for the first time in all of my years of trading Bitcoin during the 7-month consolidation, because it was unlike any other Bitcoin type of movement that we've ever seen. The last time Bitcoin was at 30K breaking out of its all-time high in 2020, it did not take 7 months to consolidate before moving higher. And the ranges and just the way that it traded in this time really changed my opinion on what drives Bitcoin. Again, more institutionally driven market than it has ever been in the past. But like I said, in my opinion, I think we're just in another range. And yes, we could break down from here. And yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad for altcoins. That would be bad for the market in general. But again, my macro thesis is that we're still not at a place where it's time to cut all ties to risk assets, move into safe havens. I don't think we're there yet. I think eventually we will get there, but I don't think we're there yet. Obviously, the dollar has been showing strength, guys, and we have to realize the dollar has been showing strength this whole time, and despite the strength of the dollar, Bitcoin has still kind of moved up. And so just imagine if we start seeing weakness in the dollar. Again, people are really speculating as to, with the new administration in the White House, what is the game plan there? What are they thinking and what do they want? We obviously know that Trump probably wants a very strong stock market, very strong real estate market. And now with, so much of the influence in this last election coming from crypto lobbyists, and just the change of tune that, Trump has had on crypto, I think he's going to want crypto to do well. He's going to want Bitcoin to be at all-time highs. And I think he's going to try and create an environment for this to happen. So regardless of if you agree with, some of the crazy things that he's doing, I think he is going to pump the markets at the very least. But also, like I said, the macro environment that we're in right now is leaning towards continued benefit to holding risk assets, including crypto. Now, this is the main thing, and we have talked about this many times, many times, and we've been harping on it the last couple of weeks as well. But I don't think it was really cemented in anybody's minds until, last week when everything just started plummeting 50, 60%, is that it actually is going to require you to fundamentally understand what some of this stuff is doing and understand if an institutional bid is coming. Honestly, for me, I am like, this is the best scenario ever, because 99% of what I've been doing within crypto has been trying to understand if there's anything of value that institutions are going to come and start adopting. And not only adopting, start investing in, putting their names behind, and then just like with the stock market, just like with other businesses, making sure that these businesses succeed over time and making sure that these assets succeed over time. Because again, once the institutions are here, I don't think that the money flow in and out of these is going to be as rapid and emotional and just kind of uneducated as it was before when, the market was mainly driven by retail. So with that being said, I think there's several assets that when we're down 40, 50, 60% are going to be worth DCAing. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I put in my last bits of capital into the markets on that liquidation. And I'm not putting any more in. I am going to let this play out, but I bought that dip. I just want to be very clear. I had capital that I was waiting for something to happen, and finally it happened, and I bought that dip. And I'll tell you exactly what I did. I initially put both of those, I split up my capital into two different plays. I put half of it into bittensor, and I put half of it into Kaspa when Kaspa had hit 7 cents. But what I will tell you is when Kaspa started recovering back up to 11 cents over here, and it hit about 11.2 cents, I sold everything into Tau. So I took everything out of Kaspa. Why did I do that? Because if you watched my video from last week, you would have known that we've been following Kaspa's chart, and this is why I say, the charts are kind of my center of gravity when it comes to making these decisions. And guys, Kaspa could be 1,000% bottomed. I don't know. But realistically, I said, if Kaspa breaks the 11 cents range and goes anywhere lower here, then the risk of us going, down to 4 or 5 cents is pretty high. The probability, not the risk, the probability is pretty high. And so I don't want to see that drawdown. So I did liquidate and go into Tau. Why did I do that? Because I think Tau is a primo asset. Institutions are definitely looking into this, and I just want to bring you to this post by Barry Silbert. And I always, again, like I said, I get so many things wrong, guys. So many things wrong. The probability of me being right about this is incredibly low, probably less than 1%. So you have to realize the likelihood of me being right is very wrong, or very, very high. But when we first started talking about Tau in 2023, this is a project that's been developing for several years before the AI hype even began, before NVIDIA was the biggest stock market on the stock exchange and everyone was talking about ChatGPT and all these things. Bittensor was developing, it was building, and then it was released. And Barry Silbert from DCG, so Digital Currency Group, is talking about, the momentum shift and just the amount of bullishness he has towards Tau. And he is going out on a limb and comparing it to, similar to the arrival of Bitcoin, comparing it to essentially, like Bitcoin, close to reaching escape velocity in terms of its adoption and its power within this market. Now, Tau is not the only option out there in terms of a project that I believe is going to be institutionally adopted and pushed in this new market, this new world, this new era of the crypto market that we're going into. I think things like Ondo, there's a lot of great projects, but they are not going to be driven by retail, are going to be driven by institutions. But again, all of this to say that, guys, there's a lot going on in the space, and if you cut the noise and just look at what the institutions are doing, institutions are buying Ethereum. The sentiment around Ethereum has never been lower. Realistically, all that Ethereum did was come back and test the range lows and grab some liquidity from the range lows that we had in July. So it basically just did a big croissant, a big upside down U, came back and sucked up all the liquidity down here at 2100, which in my opinion is dirt cheap for Ethereum. And I don't understand it. Why is Larry Fink? Why is Donald Trump? Why are all these people accumulating Ethereum while all of retail is capitulating on the idea that Ethereum is ever going to run? I think we have to be a little bit patient here, guys, and understand that things are going to take some time to play out. Not everything's going to be instantaneous. And that's the great thing with projects like Tau, and I think the same goes for Caspa, and there's plenty of projects out there where the reality is we've been watching these projects build over several years now, and they continue to grow. Barry Silbert with Tau as an example, he's the CEO of DCG, but he also has the Yuma Group, which is fundamentally in existence just to accelerate the fundamentals and the ecosystem within bittensor. And that's how crazy it is to me that, the shift that we're seeing, that's how serious this guy is about bittensor. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is he this serious about it? There must be something there. So obviously, I'm not trying to shill you on Tau. I'm saying there are things out there, there's projects out there that I'm not afraid of holding through large drawdowns. If it's not Bitcoin, I'm okay holding. I understand that they're going to be very volatile. I understand that they're extremely risky, but I think that there's some merit to them, and that institutions also see that, and they're accumulating for that reason. Now, overarching theme here is that you have to be very selective about what altcoins you're going to hold. You have to be very picky, be extremely picky if it's not Bitcoin. But the reality is that from a macro lens, we are still not at the point where we are overbought in terms of macro asset prices. We're not overbought in terms of, the M2 money supply versus where assets are in terms of their relative valuations. So the only way we're going to be able to do this sustainably is to understand that there is a long-term vision here. There's an idea that, guys, it has never been better for crypto in terms of the environment politically, institutionally, just in general. It has never been more supportive of crypto being successful. But where we stand here is, are we going to gamble away on meme coins? Are we going to gamble away and give, grifters and influencers our money because we're impatient and we can't wait for these things to play out? Or are we going to just sit here and say, all right, I have a long-term idea. I believe by 2030, these assets are going to exponentially grow because it only makes sense with the system that we have been given, which is the fiat system, capitalism, the world we live in. These things are going to play out. Are we going to be patient enough to see things like Bitcoin? Wow, Bitcoin was 16,000 a couple years ago. Now it's 100,000. It's probably going to 2, 3, 4, 5, a million. Hey, are there other assets in this this new world of crypto that actually have value that we might be able to invest in and be a little bit earlier to than we were to Bitcoin? The answer is probably yes. It's very hard. It's going to be very difficult, but they're there. And once you start connecting the dots, you start to worry less about the noise of what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and you try and control your emotions and understand that everything is moving in the direction that we want it to. Everything is happening for a reason. And all we have to do is not get too greedy. All we have to do is understand and just realize that there's a bigger picture and there's a bigger force at play that is playing out. We just need to let it happen. And again, like I said, don't get too greedy. And just whatever it is that you have done your research on, whatever it is that you feel you have conviction in, don't give it up. because there's a bunch of people on the internet saying it's all over because they gambled, their life away essentially on meme coins and extremely high risk, high reward assets that are now down 80, 90%. Crypto Twitter is a very emotional place. It's up and down all the time. It's calling tops, it's calling bottoms. It goes from one day we're back to one day it's over to one day we're back again, extremely volatile. And so hopefully you can block out the noise and understand that long term this is going somewhere. There's no doubt. Yes, there's the fears of recession, and yes, there's the fear that we might be in a place where, wow, this actually could be the top for everything. But like I said, I don't think we're there yet. I don't know. Obviously you can't take my word for it. This is just my opinion. But from what I see, from the people that I choose to trust in terms of the information they're giving out about macro insights and macro understanding, I don't think we're there yet. And yeah, that's all we can do. Like I said, the main topic of discussion here today was really just that, yeah, I'm not giving up on the cycle just because of what happened last weekend. I've already consolidated, and I've only been in a very few amount of assets to begin with. I'm talking 2 or 3 assets within crypto. I'm down to 2. It's just based on what I have conviction in and what I'm willing to hold long term. And if it, doesn't play out immediately, I'm not going to panic and decide that, hey, everything's going to shit and it's all over. I'm going to realize that, it's a market. Psychology drives a lot of the market. And most of the times, and definitely in the situation we're in now, institutions are the ones who are trying to accumulate the assets, trying to get in early so that they can pump those bags just like they did with Bitcoin. And yeah, all that being said, I hope you got some value. If anything, I'm here just to chat and talk about what's going on in the market and share my feelings, my thoughts, have that little crypto therapy session with you guys, as I love to do. But yeah, guys, cheers to the weekend. I hope you guys aren't stressing out too much. I would love to hear, what you guys are up to and what you're doing in the crypto market. Hopefully you didn't get wrecked on that liquidation. Don't use leverage. That is advice. Do not use leverage. There's just no reason to do it. And yeah, hopefully you guys are safe, chilling. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.